taxpayer. Breaking news and a new batch of Hillary Clinton emails from her time as Secretary of State. One email in particular that could prove controversial, from a Clinton Foundation executive to Clinton's top aide, Huma Abedin. Catherine Herridge is in D.C. with details. What's in this email, Kat?
Well, Shep, this is the email that was obtained by Judicial Watch after they sued in federal court for Huma Abedin's records. And it was sent in July 2009, 6 months into then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's term at the State Department. And in the email, a top Clinton Foundation executive, Doug Band, asked Huma Abedin if she's able to get him and some of his colleagues at the foundation diplomatic passports. This is a very big deal, even though we don't know from the brief exchange here whether they obtained diplomatic passports. Because under the Federal Code of Regulations, these are the regulations that govern employees for the U.S. government, diplomatic passports have very strict controls. So they are for diplomats and their families, obviously, people who do government business. And there's a carve-out for government contractors. But under any of those scenarios, there's no way that the Clinton Foundation could fit, Shep. We've asked the State Department if, in fact, these diplomatic passports were granted, but this will likely be seized on by Clinton's critics as another example of where there was the blurring of the lines between the State Department and the foundation, Shep.
Likely you're right. Catherine, thank you.
A new report in Politico suggests that taxpayer money was used to defray costs for Bill and Hillary Clinton's multi-billion-dollar foundation and even purchase a private server. According to a Politico investigation, records reveal the Clintons made the most of the former President's Act, authorized in 1958 to fund pensions, correspondence demands, and support staff for ex-commanders-in-chief. Politico's Ken Vogel writes in the piece, quote, even as the Clintons got rich and grew their foundation into a $2 billion organization, Bill Clinton continued drawing more cash from the former President's Act than any other ex-president. The analysis found the Clintons' representatives between 2001, when the Clintons left the White House, and the end of the year had requested allocations totaling $16 million. Politico says the money paid for aides, one who earned six-figure salary from the Clinton Foundation and purchased a $7,700 server and other IT equipment. NBC News has reached out to the Clinton campaign for a response.
Daily Caller attorney Bradley Moss explained to Fox News anchor Martha McCallum why a federal judge ordered the State Department to provide records showing that Hillary Clinton received security training for handling classified information.
So all State Department employees, everyone who holds a clearance at the State Department, has to get this basic training so they understand all the details of what they're working with, especially when it comes to classified information. And of course, you know, we're 68 days now from the presidential election, and everyone knows about Hillary Clinton's email saga. Everyone knows what the director of the FBI said, namely that her and her senior staff were extremely careless in how they handled classified information while they were at the State Department, including the fact that Secretary Clinton didn't recognize classification portion markings. These are the basic kind of things that you would learn about in that security training. Now, we know that the State Department has said she got an in-person orientation. We have no idea what that meant. We have no idea who provided it, what it entailed. It may have been completely legitimate and substantive, but we don't know yet, and that's what the judge is asking the State Department to provide more details on. But from our standpoint, from FOIA and from bringing information out to the public, this is something to be considered, something to be debated of whether or not this affects how people choose to evaluate her competency and qualification to become president of the United States and how they'll decide to vote come November. If she didn't do it, and we don't know if Huma Abedin did it, we have incomplete records on whether or not Cheryl Mills did all her training. It speaks to a certain arrogance and certain level of those rules are for everybody else that existed in the Clinton State Department.